Welcome to ProjectME the Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multi-millionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME the Podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. You are listening to the podcast ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. This is episode 44, Turning No's into Yeses and How I Handle Common Client Obstacles and Objections. First of all, I want to say thank you to those of you who are leaving written reviews on iTunes and then sharing them in your social media and tagging me. That is so appreciated, and it costs money to actually produce a top quality podcast. So the more you guys do reviews and share the show with others, it helps us pay for the show to get great guests and to keep things going. So do me a favor as you're listening to this, just take a quick screenshot with your phone. When you're done listening, post it on your social media, your Instagram stories, Facebook, whatever you use most, and just tag me and write a little thing on there, like, what you loved about the episode or the show, or put some, cute stickers or emojis on there. I would really appreciate that. So I do get asked all the time by my clients and after I'm speaking at live events, one of the more common questions I get is, what do you do when people tell you no, Tiffany? It's a great question. And in fact, I am going to now start asking a lot of the guests I have on the same question. People who are, from all different stages of business, because I'm curious what their answers are. But I have many, many years of sales training by the best of the best in the business. I will say that when I had my corporate job, when I was an employee in the pharmaceutical industry, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their top employees and management in order to up-level their sales and marketing skills. So I can't tell you how many hours upon hours. I'm talking thousands of sales role plays I've done. I've had to do them on video and watch myself in the process. Talk about cringeworthy. Oh my God. And then of course you hear the words that you repeat 1,000 times over, which is not comfortable at all. But after you do it enough, you kind of become numb to it and you're like, okay, whatever. So I have all that experience being trained, by the best of the best. Some of those old school pros like Zig Ziglar, if you've ever heard of him. I've even had company-wide training that was done by Tony Robbins just for the company, which was really incredible with how much they've poured into that training. But that's one thing to be trained, that's appreciated, that's great. But it's kind of like going to college or, taking a course. It's like, okay, that's great. That's very important. But you have to be able to put it out in the real world. And then you have to kind of fail at it and embarrass yourself many times before you really have refined that craft and built the confidence. So that's part of my mission here at ProjectME, is to help you guys turn those no's into yeses. You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't have a side hustle. I don't care what it is you sell. If you're selling makeup, if you're in network marketing, if you have a tank top line, if you're selling baked goods, if you're selling, coaching services, health coaching, fitness, business coaching, you cannot have any form of a business at any level without sales and without being able to master the common client obstacles and objections. You just won't be successful. It's not possible. And I would rather kind of put you on the fast track to it, because you're leaving money on the table by not being trained and by not knowing these things. And, if you do choose to role play with somebody, make sure it is a professional like myself who's highly seasoned and trained, I've sold in my career literally over $100 million in sales transactions. objections. You want somebody like that because we've made enough mistakes and had enough fumbles and have refined the process. And we obviously have proof that what we do works. But I highly recommend, whether it's working with me or someone who I guess is also at my skill level, and doing a lot of role plays and working with your sales copy and marketing copy with that person, it'll propel you forward much faster. And the reality is you're costing yourself money every day that you don't learn this skill set, because you're leaving these no's on the table that could very well be yeses. And it really can be. Our mind might tell us things like, oh no, I know, I spoke to Abby last week and this was for, private one-on-one health coaching. And she really explained to me she's in student debt. She's living paycheck to paycheck. She really can't afford it. Like, I know that, Tiffany. And it's like, oh, really? So you know that to be an absolute 100% fact that there is no way on this God-given earth that Abby can afford what you have to offer and what she needs in order to help her make money, And the answer is always, well, no, maybe not an absolute 100% fact. It's like, of course you don't. You don't know this person. You don't know all of their stuff that they have going on in their life and their capabilities. So we make a lot of assumptions, especially when we're listening to someone who seems very emphatic. When you get a no, and most people, if you do try to press on a no, like, okay, so you can't afford it. There's, a lot of people's go-to who aren't trained will say something like, so what if I do a payment plan? Or a lot of people even will do price reduction. No es bueno, people. Not happening. Don't like it. Not if you're ProjectME peep. We don't do that. But this is what happens because you kind of don't know what to do because you're not trained. Or maybe you were trained, but you've really not done a lot of role playing enough where it's become second nature. So you're fumbling all over the place and you're losing a crap ton of money. You just are. And you're going to lose some money anyway, not being able to convert those no's into yeses, just because it does take practice to refine this process. But I want to fast track you. So, let's go through what a couple of the most common client objections, or we could say obstacles. The number one, which I've already briefly touched on, is I can't afford it right now. I don't care what business, okay? I don't care what it is. This probably will make a little more sense for people in a service-based business or a subscription-based business, even if it's a product, than it would someone who's selling tank tops, hats, mugs. But there's a different process for that. And I'll do a separate episode for people selling tangible goods. But this totally applies to network marketing. Again, a subscription service. And that's really what network marketing is. It's a subscription service of a product. So this is for subscription services and for service-based people, coaches, educators, whatever you call yourself. So let's say whether you're trying to get someone into a group coaching, or it's some kind of a mastermind, or it's a one-on-one, and you're having to have these individual calls with people. Some people call them discovery calls. I call them strategy sessions because I actually give people like free strategy. Like, it's not just a sales call. Like, they're walking away learning something, even if we end up not working together. Even if I choose to not work with them, I don't feel it's a good fit. Or that no is truly a no, because there are no's that are truly no's. But I would really say that's tops 20% where no's truly no. I'm being dead serious with that. So I always make sure that they get value because I'm taking their time to be on the call. They obviously need my services or they wouldn't have scheduled a call. They probably wouldn't really even be following me. I mean, unless they're trying to learn something or, take their life to the next level. I mean, unless they're following me to get like eyebrow tips, which is possible. Or like office supply suggestions, also possible. So the point here is that only about 20% of those no's are really no's, and that's tops. So you're getting the person on the call, the discovery call, the strategy session, whatever your business model is with that. But if it's a higher ticket item, you definitely need to get someone on the phone or on, Skype or Zoom. Needs to happen, because it's like someone's not going to invest that much money without talking to you, nor probably would you. So someone gets on the phone, you should be learning about them. I'm not going to go through the whole sales process. That's something, if you're interested in, you can DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. I'm going to go through literally what the title of the show is, how to handle the common client obstacles and objections. Okay. So let's call her Sally. Okay. Sally says to me, I can't afford it right now. Okay. So if Sally says she can't afford it right now, I don't hear that as a no. She didn't tell me no. She told me she can't afford it right now. So that's the first thing you guys need to keep in mind. That's not a no. That's I can't afford it right now, or whatever, replace that with any other excuse. Okay. And what I want you guys to do from there is what I do. I need to clarify that. It's none of my business to assume what the hell someone means. I don't know this person. The only person I could really say I know what I mean is myself. I really don't know what she means. So don't assume. Say something like, in your own, whatever your own natural verbiage is. You don't want to sound like me. You want to sound like yourself. Help me understand what you mean by that, Sally. Have Sally explain further. Okay, well, I have student debt. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I can't even afford to pay for my son's soccer equipment right now. And a lot of people will give you kind of a list like that. Okay. And then I say, so what is your plan then? If you're saying you can't afford to solve the problem that you came on the phone with me on, and I repeat the problem that they have, that they want solved, and the result they desire. So I repeat that. Then I'll clarify and say, did I have that right? Did you tell me that you're stuck? You're only making like $1,000 a month. You don't know how to get more clients. You've tried everything. Nothing's working. You're frustrated. Maybe this whole entrepreneur thing isn't meant for you. This is so hard. I need to be bringing in more clients, or this is just not worth it. So you're telling me that's your problem. Your desired result is to create a steady stream of income and clients and, thus revenue that's coming in, and then build upon that and build your business and have a real business and it not be a hobby. Or as I like to call it, it's not a hobby, it's a jobby. It's a jobby because it's a lot of work. Last time I checked, a hobby you don't have to make money from, but it's fun, right? Having a business and working your butt off and not making much money, that's a jobby. You're working your butt off and a lot of it isn't fun and you're not making money. That's insanity. We don't want a jobby here. That doesn't work. So I'll repeat back. You basically have a jobby and you want out of that. And you told me you reached out, you shared that you reached out with me because you I'm just saying what some people say to me. You mentioned that, you like my style, you feel comfortable with me, you like that I'm direct and straightforward and get to the point and actually share practical, straight up tips. And I cut through the BS and I get right to the point, blah, blah, blah. So you're saying all that. Did I have that written down correctly according to my notes? The person's going to say yes. Okay. Rarely does someone say, well, I really said this. And it's like, okay, good. Okay. Then I write that down. I'll repeat that back. So you're saying all this and you're telling me that's correct. This is the situation. So if you're saying you can't afford this, help me understand and share with me, what is your plan then? And shut the F up. Then shut up. And I mean it, shut up. There's going to be dead silence and you got to get comfortable in the silence. And what I did, which is I might have been Zig Ziglar, is one of like the old school, like sales guys, but those are the best. My dad was one of those. My dad didn't talk much, so he was really good at being quiet. But Zig Ziglar, I believe, had us take a Post-it note and put it wherever we were, or even write it on our hand, somewhere on our hand, even if it was small, if it was like an in-person, because I did a lot of in-person sales. And it was basically like whatever we had to write on there to like shut up, like silence, whatever the key did. Maybe it was a rubber band on your wrist, whatever you had to do. You have to get comfortable with silence. So many people get uncomfortable and then we start talking to fill the gap. You asked a question, shut the F up. Even if it takes, sometimes, people have to gather their thoughts and think about it. You're asking them a serious freaking question about their business and life. It might take them even 30 seconds. Just shut up. I don't care if you have to doodle, paint your nails, pick at a cuticle, whatever you got to do. Just shut up and then let them respond. Most of the time, people will respond with things like, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I've never really thought about that. It'll be some kind of like hemming and hawing answer. And it's like, and then my response is, again, your response needs to be natural to you. Like a version of this is, well, that's what I'm afraid of for you. That's what I'm concerned of for you, is if you don't do anything different, you're going to be stuck in the same cycle and you will not have a business. You'll end up quitting. You'll quit on your dream. You won't have a business. So you've already tried everything. You've clearly told me that, and everything you explained to me, I would agree. You have really tried everything to the best of your ability and knowledge and skill set. And I commend you for really trying everything. So there is nothing else to try. You have to do something different if you want this dream, and repeat their dream to them. People need to hear that back. My dream is to make, $1 million a year helping people live healthier lives, whatever it is. Repeat that back to them. Or it's opening a store and making six figures a year, opening a store and teaching people how to use, makeup to make them feel more confident. I don't care what it is. Repeat their dream back to them. People need to be reminded of their dream, especially when they're calling you and they're stuck. They're calling you because they need help. No one calls me because they're rolling in the cash. Those people who call me are people who are hiring me to speak at events and at masterminds. The people who are, struggling and are stuck, those are the people calling, needing to work with me because they need something. So I'm not surprised when they say they can't afford it or there's some money thing. Well, of course there is. If they had no money issues at all, they probably wouldn't be compelled to call someone like me who helps people make more money with their business, right? So you have to like remind yourself of this stuff too. Okay, so I've repeated the dream back to Sally. You want this. If you don't have a plan and you're going to go back and doing the same thing, you're going to have to kiss that dream goodbye. Are you willing to do that? Is that an option on the table for you? And no one says, oh yes, that's an option. I'm going to kill my dream. No one says that, because we all know when we really want something and we're really passionate about it, that'd be devastating. I mean, I know it would devastate me. It'd be devastating to do that. It'd be life altering. And so then I'm quiet again. I do a lot of pausing to allow people some breathing room to freaking think. We get nervous. We don't like silence. We talk too much. You're not giving someone space. It's like when you go to a department store, let's just use Nordstrom shoe department. Gotta say it because they're pretty guilty of this. Sorry, Nordstroms, but you are. I might be going and looking for like a new pair of UGG boots or something like that. And within like 2 seconds, I get like all these shoe salespeople swarming me, and I have no breathing room or thinking room to like look at the different pair of Uggs, touch them, decide. It's too much. It doesn't feel good. Well, that's what you're doing on the phone when you don't allow pauses and silence. And then, then you say, listen, I know I can help you if it's someone you can help, okay? Not everyone that I talk to do I feel I'm the best fit, right? Some people I'm just not the best fit, and then I refer them to someone who I truly think is. But if you know you can help the person, state that I know I can help you and repeat their problem. I know I can help you get consistent clients in your business and increase your revenue, and have a plan where you're steadily increasing your revenue, and you don't have to worry about when the next client is coming, when the next, money you're going to make is coming. I know I can get you there and help you with that. But I can't make that decision and commitment for you. This is an investment in yourself and your business, and it's whether or not you want to make sure your dream happens, or you want to watch it slowly dwindle away. And it's not being mean, it's not high pressure, it's being caring and matter of fact. And this goes down a path, little versions of it go down a path. And usually the person goes, no, you know what? I see your point. You have a great point. I'm just kind of scared, and I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do because I don't have anything in my savings, Then I will ask, would you like me to give you some suggestions on what I did when I didn't have the money to invest in my coach or doing things to take my business to the next level? Would you like to hear some of those and what some of my clients have done? Then shut up again and let them tell you they want to hear it. Otherwise, you're wasting your breath and their time. Usually they do want to hear it because you're offering suggestions, and give suggestions that you've done yourself and that other clients of yours. So for me, I put things on credit cards because that was the easiest access to money. I didn't have to go to try to get a business loan, which are kind of hard to get if you're just starting a business because you don't have an established business. So that's credit cards. It's okay. That's okay. You cannot build a business without having debt, like a real business. It's not going to grow fast, and it's not going to grow big. And if you want to DM me and go, Tiffany, I have an example of a company that grew to $1 billion and didn't have any debt, it would be a rare 1 in a million beyond unicorn. Okay. You just might not know about what a business looks like behind the scenes. They all have debt. Facebook has debt. Google has debt. They all have debt. That's just part of business. You got to get comfortable with the 4-letter debt word. It's smart debt though. It's investment debt. It's not debt because I decided I wanted to buy the latest Gucci bag and look all bougie. That's not the debt I'm talking about. I'm talking about debt that makes sense. Debt is really future investment for your company. So as long as it's following that parameter, it's okay. So again, I give suggestions about how I use credit cards. Okay, then the person might say, oh, well, I don't have any credit cards. Okay, well, you can easily open one. It takes 2 seconds to open a credit card. You could even put me on hold and open a credit card. They want you to open one. How many people got sent as soon as they were 18? A bazillion credit card offers. And you're 18. You generally have no work history. You're 18 years old and you're getting all these credit card offers. It's not complicated. Okay. So I give that suggestion. I'll say I have other clients who went to a family member and told them that you want to do, this course, you need to hire this instructor to help you with this and to be able to get your business going because what you're doing isn't working. And ask them. And it can be a loan from them. And you can even put it on, paper where you have to pay them back so much a month, even with interest. A lot of times family members, want to help out, and every little bit helps. If we're near a birthday or a holiday, I know I've personally have asked people who always give me gifts. I'll say, in lieu of a gift, I really need help in my business. And so if you were going to buy me a gift and it was $40 or $200 or whatever it is, the cash would really help me. And in order to be able to, grow my business And people love that. You just made their lives easier. People love you telling them what gifts for you to give them because then they don't have to rack their brain with it. So those are some suggestions. You probably have a bunch of different ones and you give those suggestions and then you say, okay, so there's some suggestions. What do you think? And pause again, shut up again, and let them think. They're thinking about something really important, maybe something they've never thought about before. Creativity, right? There's a reason we have great ideas when we're relaxed or in the shower or at 3 a.m. It takes time to marinate. And they'll usually come up with something. Well, you know what? My cousin Alex does owe me money and I know he has it and I've not really wanted to call him on it and, but he does owe me $500 or he does owe me $1,000 or whatever it is. They'll start coming up with ideas and you're like, okay, great. So there you go. That's how you handle that. But before, once you get down that process and the person says, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the money is the credit card. And then I'm going to ask my cousin to pay me back what he owes me. And I'm going to ask my mom in lieu of my birthday and Christmas present this year to give me, the money she would have spent on the gift, and present why, say, okay, great. So now you're committed. You've committed to this investment with me, training you on X in order to get Y for your business. And then you go through the next steps, whatever it is you require. I require a deposit. It is rare that I make that exception. A deposit is someone giving their commitment to me and to themselves and not wasting my time or their own. But that deposit goes towards the total cost of the service or the thing. So a deposit, and then I send them an agreement and they have to sign the agreement. And the agreement is a real agreement. It's clear. This is not some refundable situation. This is an agreement to work together. And so for me, those are the two things I need to have, but every business is different. But I will say you guys do need to get some kind of commitment that is more than just verbal on the phone. So they need to give you a deposit over the phone, whether it is while you're on the phone, they PayPal you. If it has to be, they Venmo you. If they do have a credit card, then they need to, whatever you use for that service, Stripe or one of those, then they have to do that. But it needs to be something that they give you right there. Truly, what I really require to even start working with someone is I require my first month. That's for my business and that's where I'm at in my career. But again, everyone's different, but I want to make sure you get a monetary commitment. There needs to be an action that takes place, and immediately when you're off the phone and you make it clear, as soon as we're off the phone, I'm sending you the agreement to work together and I need you to sign it and send it back to me, as fast as possible. Can you do that? And if they say, oh, I have to drop my kid off at school and then I can, okay, so by 6:00 tonight, you can get it back to me. And, you get them to commit on a time to get it back to you. Yes. And then say, great. So now you'll have the agreement, you'll have some sort of monetary commitment, and there you go. You just turned a no into a yes by going through that. Yes, can that be kind of painstaking? Because that's a lot of time that you went through. So you have to make sure what you're charging for your service, for your thing, whatever it is you do, you have to make sure that you're charging enough money where you're not going to be resentful for all this upfront work it takes to land a client. If you charge too low, let's say you're charging $100 an hour for your time or something like that. And you're charging $100 for your hour, for your time. And so maybe it's a $500 a month thing. And you just spent on the front end, you spent a solid hour, if not 90 minutes, going through this whole process to land the client. So that was time you weren't paid for, right? So psychologically, that's going to not feel good, especially when you have, discovery or strategy call after strategy call. So you need to make sure whatever service it is, service or product that you're selling, that you bake that in there into the price, into consideration, and knowing that time, effort, and energy that you're putting in up front to really, you're coaching a client to invest in themselves and their business. It's not even really selling. You're coaching them. And people need it. They're calling you because they're stuck in something, whether it's their health, their weight, their finances, their business, growing their social media, they're writing content, their blog, whatever it is, they're stuck. So you're having to actually coach them to invest in themselves and their business, because most people have lost some self-esteem, some self-worth, motivation, belief in themselves, because what they've been doing isn't working. So you are ending up coaching someone on a pretty hardcore level for free. So you need to make sure, again, that you bake that time into your price. So okay, this is okay. I can do this. I can put this forth, this time, effort, and energy, because I know I close the client and I'm going to end up being paid for that time. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's also important. Otherwise, these calls can get pretty exhausting. I mean, you are dealing with people who are emotional, their money issues, and it can get pretty tiring pretty quick, especially when you're practicing everything that we're talking about today. You're going to fumble. It's going to make your heart race. You might even sweat. It's going to cause, that's what I did when I first took all this amazing training I got in the pharmaceutical industry, and I had to go do my first sales call, and they were to doctors. I mean, talk about intimidating, top doctors. And I had to go in and do that. I'm telling you, and we had to wear full suits. Of course, I had something from Limited Express, because I was broke as a joke, and Payless shoes. But underneath my suit, my tank top underneath, it was drenched. I was so freaking nervous, even though I had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in me in training, all these hours of role playing, video role playing, which was great. It totally helped me. But going out and actually doing it, it's still scary at first. So when you initially do this, probably your first 15 to 20 calls, this is going to take more energy than normal. You're going to maybe be tired, maybe grumpy, maybe annoyed. It's going to take a little more energy. Just know it becomes routine after that. And the other thing is, don't tie in your worth or your business or the need for your services into a yes or a no. So I should probably do a separate episode on that, but it's important to not attach your worth into whether or not someone says yes or no ultimately. Because you can go through that whole process. Like I said, about 20% of no's are really no's, or they're just not a good fit, or you get a bad vibe from the person, or, something seems off, whatever it is. Or the person just has such a money mindset block that they're in a self-sabotage mode, and they can't do it. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Someone could have an abusive marriage. We have no idea. So that, you just have to know that when someone says no, it is usually not about you. That doesn't mean that you need to look at how this whole sales process and this, so to speak, business coaching process and investing in themselves went, because if you nailed it, then they still said no. Okay, it's a no. It's one of those 20% Tiffany talked about. But you kind of know if you kind of fumbled, you spoke too much, you didn't pause. I botched this one. You're less likely to fumble and botch things, the more that you practice and that you have been properly trained and educated on how to do this and these steps. Feel free, you guys, if there's a common obstacle or objection that you get, that you want me to do a quick little role play with you, or I'll even send you a video if you do it through Instagram, through DMs at ProjectME with Tiffany. I'll even reply to you with a video on how I would respond to that obstacle or objection you're getting. It won't be anything like lengthy like this. It'll be a quick overview and a short version. But I can tell you for sure it'll help you. So feel free to do that. And as always, you guys, thanks for listening. And I'm wishing you the best health, wealth, and worth as always. Thanks, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.